Well, hello. I'm back with another review. It's been a little while. I've always wanted to. This is a bit of a challenge and a bit of selfish or self-indulgent reflection on the golden era of Sega games. Given that they were known for their sporting titles, I thought I would continue my series and see how I go. There's a lot of games in the Genesis Mega Drive collection, but I think I'll focus on some of the standout titles and go from there. Some of these I haven't played before, and I haven't played Barkley Shut Up and Jam before, so I'm pretty excited to have a look at it. As you can see, the cover is a Genesis cover, so for us Australians, I think it was for sale, but I don't recall seeing it on the shelf. It was released in '94, I think, in Australia. If it was here, I think that was sort of the main era. NBA Live '95 obviously was released in late '94. That sort of thing, kind of like nowadays. So Barkley Shut Up and Jam was very much known as a kind of a NBA Jam clone of sorts, and there's obviously some differences. So on the cover here, we've got the Genesis red label, which is obviously very different to what we had in our Mega Drive titles. As far as I know, there wasn't a Mega Drive version. I'm guessing it would run on a Mega Drive. There's some titles on Genesis that won't run on a Mega Drive, as you'll know. And we've got the very intense Charles Barkley, obviously going up for a dunk. Got the Accolade Sport logo. Accolade were kind of known for some sporting titles. They were one of their more well-known games was the Test Drive series, the early racing game, which I think was bought by another company later on. And Accolade, I think, were bought out in about year 2000. They actually had a court case with Sega for basically reverse engineering the cartridges to figure out how to make games for the cartridge and more or less make unlicensed cartridges. They went to court. It was a big deal. Interesting story if you are really bored and a nerd like me and want to read up on it. But basically, it was a bit of a turning point in kind of that Creative Commons area of licensing and security on companies being able to make games for a console. So yeah, check that out if you're interested. So I'll just go through to the next page. What do we got here? So a bit of a background on Charles Barkley. Obviously, he's a massive star, and you probably don't need the background. But some of his accolades: he was obviously an MVP. He was multiple All-Star MVP. Very good rebounder. He was only 6'6", which obviously is still a large human being for regular people. But remember, Michael Jordan was also 6'6", and you can see down the bottom there his NBA statistics. He averaged 22.1 points a game, 11.7 rebounds a game, and 3.9 assists per game. Kind of annoying they don't put the defensive stats in there, but I can tell you I think he averaged 1 block a game and two steals a game. He was very much a one of those sort of classic 90s players who is under the ring, just grabbing every rebound, real hustle player, intense on the court, extremely gifted with the ball in general, but he was always known to be playing bigger than he was. And I remember being quite surprised that he was actually only 6'6" and really just crashing the boards. So he's sort of known for that hustle play and being, an intense competitor. Was probably robbed a championship or two by the Chicago Bulls in their era. And yeah, so like a lot of players, he was in that period, and really that period of time was just such a golden era of basketball where it really became a massive sport, and of course the video games followed with it. So we'll have a look at some of the promotional material. This is kind of like what's on a poster. This is actually the back of the cover. So we've got this trash talk thing going on. It kind of reminds me a bit of Mr. T or something like that. This almost forced bad boy kind of aesthetic that they have going on with the these particular games, the Charles Barkley Shut Up and Jam series. So hey, any stupid fool can hoop in some stupid gym. I'm talking street ball. No pretty uniforms, no refs protecting your sorry self. Just you and me against some of the toughest street legends I've ever had the pleasure of busting a move on, and they ain't about to take trash off some 2-inch vertical leaping mama's boy. You got that, so don't embarrass me. Show me what you got on 7 of the nastiest black tops in this side of North Philly. So we've got this really forced, bad boy kind of trash talking but PG rated stuff going on the back, which is clearly written by just people sitting at a desk. It's very forced and it's hilarious. I love it. So the basic principle is it's a 2-on-2 street ball. It's basically NBA Jam in some ways. In its I guess its basic principle. There was, I think, less restrictions. So I think you could go back court. The out of bounds wasn't really there. Well, you could push people over in NBA Jam. You can do that in this. So you play 2-on-2. You can also, I think you can play sort of more street rules as well, which would be interesting. Play as Charles Barkley. You can jam like me, but you'll never be as handsome as me. 7 different cities. Play against 15 street all-stars. I don't think they're real. I think they're all, fictional characters, which is, I guess, a bit of a shame. Real street ball moves, monster dunks, reverse 360 jams, pushing and shoving, and asking, have you got a problem with that? It's just such a bad boy thing going on here. Tournament mode. Okay, so obviously it's a series you can play. Post-game stats. Yeah. Digitized commentary from Charles Barkley. That'll be interesting because this era, I guess Sega wasn't known. It's got a distinctive sound chip, but it wasn't known for having excellent audio recordings or digitized recordings, so that'll be interesting. And obviously there'll be some key quotes in there. Again, NBA Jam had quite a clear digitized voice, but I have heard some shockers. Also, just as a bit of a side note, it came out on the SNES, but it also came out on the Atari Jaguar. And from the looks of it, it was actually, I've watched a quick video, it was actually they were trying to obviously flex the graphical capability of the Jaguar, being a 64-bit system, but it was still cartridge based, I believe. They actually used basically stills of people, like photographs, kind of like, I guess, Mortal Kombat was back in the day. So they've got actual people who they've photographed playing, so that looks pretty interesting. It looks okay. Looks interesting to go with that angle. Obviously, it's not a great deal different. The color palette was obviously a lot better, but they were obviously trying to go with the graphical capability. But I wonder, like a lot of these games, how responsive the controls would be. Just some more advertising material. So we got Charles's handsome face on both, and this trash talk kind of overlay going on. The one on the left is actually for Shut Up and Jam 2, and the one on the right is just, I think one I found was just a magazine advert. This is the sort of thing you'd see in, your Sega magazines. We used to have Hyper. It was a quite a popular magazine in Australia. I'm not sure if it was popular overseas or whether it was just sold in Australia, but it was a video game magazine. This would have taken up probably a page. So quit crying about getting hacked or how your shoes hurt or how you can't shoot outdoors. Just shut up and jam. So I think I'll have a look at the game, and we'll see how it goes in a second. Again, the other thing was it was an Accolade title, and they were kind of like EA. They had their Electronic Arts, as they were called back then. The cartridge was its own shape. That might have to do with this whole lawsuit thing. But if you recall, the Electronic Arts had they were a tall cart, and they had the yellow kind of tab, which I always wondered what did that do, but it didn't do anything. It was just a trademark that they had, and there was a Bubsy one which actually came packed. Obviously they sorted out the differences because they came packed with Bubsy. Some of the Mega Drives, I think some of the deals had, you know, Bubsy as the main game, or Sonic and Bubsy, Sonic 2 and Bubsy, which is, you know, Sonic 2 was a great deal. What did we get? We got a Terminator 2 arcade game and Sonic 2, and we played arcade game. You get to level 3, and it's just almost impossible to get past this one section on the back of the truck. It's like a shooting game, rail shooter. Obviously Sonic 2 was one of the best games, probably the best Mega Drive Genesis game ever made. Obviously it's a possibly controversial, probably not that controversial, but my opinion. So we'll check out the gameplay and see what we've got. Okay, here we have the menu screen. I've heard some digitized voice already. It does sound a little bit tinny. So we've got new game, new series, new tournament. Not sure. I think the tournament's multiplayer, perhaps. Load game. Apparently, the game loading works via passwords rather than a save battery backup system, which a lot of the Genesis cartridges had. So I got 1 player, 2 player. Music is quite loud. I'd probably turn that off after a while. Single game mode, compete. So the options, you either compete or you compete. 1, 3, 5 minute quarters. And then you've got timed play or play to 21 or 50 points. So you've got your kind of street rules, play to 21. Best of 5, 7 games. Yeah, okay. Okay, I'll just go new game, and I might turn this music off. Actually, no, I'll listen to it in the game and then I'll turn it off. New game. Okay, so who do we have? Wildman. Oh, hang on. We've got Smoothie, Wildman, Zows, Chili, Funky D, Gunner, Sarge, D-Train, Sir Charles, Spike, Dane, Sweet Pea, T-Bone, Newts, Flyby, and Stonewall. Okay, one thing I have noticed is Sir Charles has the most chiseled six-pack out of the entire squad there. Alright, so I'll go Sir Charles, of course, and then okay, so the computer opponent has selected someone. Okay, who will I go? I'll go Funky D. He's wearing a hat. Let's see if he's wearing one in the game. Okay, so we got Sir Charles. Oh no, he wasn't wearing a hat. He's got an afro with a little headscarf thing, which they were allowed to wear in the NBA for a while, but for some reason, not anymore. Okay, let's go down to the beach. Go down to Miami. I like the world map there. That's always cool when they do that. Okay, so I'm not sure who I'm controlling. Okay, I'm the purple team. Controls feel very sensitive, I guess is one way to put it. It's extremely fast-paced. One thing I've noticed is the camera kind of jerks around a bit, which I guess just is one of those things with the age of the game. But also, it's kind of, I don't know, something about the way the camera moves. NBA Jam, I believe, kind of zoomed in and out. Yeah, it's pretty much, it feels similar to NBA Jam. Whoa, I just stole the ball and shot it. Whoa, I just got a 3 in from full court. Okay. So, obviously it's not based on real, well, there's only one NBA player in the whole game, but it's not based on his 3-point shooting prowess. I don't know how many full court 3-pointers Charles Barkley made in his career. Oops, never passed the ball under the opponent's basket. Just committed a cardinal sin. Okay, so I can't dunk just yet. I think it has to do with the red kind of balls up the top there. I think you get like a turbo boost. I think it's the other button. I haven't got it set up properly. Hang on. I'll try to... Oh, there we go. Yeah, got blocked. So if you hold turbo down, then you can perform a... here we go. You can perform a dunk. There we go. And it strikes one off. So you get like 6 tries at using the turbo, as opposed to in NBA Jam, where it was kind of more of a bar that filled up. I've got to stop doing that because they seem to take it. I just pressed it without even having the ball. So if you even just press that button, it takes one off. So you have to be really careful when you use your turbo boosts. Oh no. I just pressed it again. Okay, so I've got 2 left. Come on, Charles. You're playing like a little sissy. Okay, so that's the end of the game. Not a great game. Lost by a lot. It's got some credits. I actually quite like the photo. The Genesis had a limited palette, and that's some really expert blending there, converting these photos into Genesis pictures. Okay, I'll try another game. I'll just keep it the same, but I'll choose a different player. I might go Sweet Pea. So I think the computer just randomly selects a player, and I'll go Wild Man. Okay, so yep. So Wild Man, definitely. He looks like a sort of surfer dude. What will I go this time? Watts. Okay, so it's different location, kind of grey colour scheme here. My players are wearing grey singlets, which is not ideal. Can't remember which player I've on this player. There we go. Big windmill. Okay, so that looks a little bit like NBA Jam, I guess. I'm not sure if you can earn back the turbo. Oh, nice windmill again. I think it was the same as before. Not sure if each player has separate dunks, like different style dunks, or whether they're all kind of generic. Let's go for another one. There we go. Now I have been unable to block any shots. I'm not sure how you do it. So you can't control the computer player. You can tell them when to pass though and when to shoot, but they will shoot on their own. I don't think they'll pass on their own, but they will shoot on their own. Let's go. Turbo. See, I get blocked literally every time, and I can't do it up the other end. I can't stop them from blocking me for some reason. Let's go again. Windmill. You can't block that. Yeah, I'm feeling a bit more badass since playing this game, actually. I would have really enjoyed this if I didn't have NBA Jam. It's got that bad boy thing. It reminds me of Basket Brawl or Arch Rivals, but the graphics are better. Arch Rivals was extremely cartoony graphics. It was very, very basic graphics, but the gameplay was fun. It was definitely a fun game. But when we first bought it, I was shocked by how bad the graphics were. This is good. This is not as good as NBA Jam, of course, graphics wise, but it's definitely a fun game. The music, I had to turn it down. It's quite loud and a little bit not on a par with other Genesis tracks, I guess. Kind of reminds me. It's not as simplistic again as the music in Arch Rivals, which was it's just an out-of-date game, whereas this feels like something that would come around the time of NBA Jam and might just be, not as popular. But for a game with one licensed player, I think it's an excellent title. And if I had this in my collection when I was a teenager, I definitely would have played it. Apparently you can have up to 16 players in a tournament, so you use your multi-tap, which gives you 4 controllers, so 1 player per, everyone's controlling someone on the court, and then you do a round robin, 16 players. So if you've got like a party with 16 people there who are all keen, you could have a full tournament that might last several hours, which I don't know how many times that would have ever happened in the world, but I'm sure whoever did it would have enjoyed themselves. One of the best things about these arcade style games is it's only 4 players maximum, so you can, organise 4 people to play. So that'll just about do it, I think. Had a fairly close look at the game, especially the background of the game. I'd give it if I was going to give it a score, I'd probably give it about a 7.5 out of 10. What lets it down? The gameplay feels good once you get used to the speed, which is kind of like NBA Jam, but the camera's not zooming in and out. Kind of affects the almost, it's not motion sickness, but it's like a feeling, it's so jerky you don't really know what's going on at all times. But that is part of the nature of these 2v2 arcade style games. Definitely, I don't even know if it was in the arcades. I don't think it was. I think it was mainly just the it was made for the Genesis and the Super Nintendo, and then the Atari Jaguar got on board, and I believe that's the only 3 systems that it was created for. And it's certainly good to come back and have a look at the game, since not playing it when I was younger and seeing advertising material about it. May have even been on TV, and it was around that time when Barkley was a massive star, and if you didn't like, if you weren't a Bulls fan, if you weren't a Michael Jordan fan, which, let's face it, most people were followers of Michael Jordan in some way or another, and, but if you wanted to be, not follow the crowd, you might have been a Barkley fan, or obviously, Karl Malone or Sean Kemp, Gary Payton combo, which I was. Who else? Alonzo Mourning, Reggie Miller, all those guys. I've missed a few. Obviously, I've missed lots. Patrick Ewing, Hakeem Olajuwon, Mutombo, all those players that were around in that era. Some were really coming into their own, and others were just sort of entering the league. And you would have collected your basketball cards and traded them, and this would have definitely been a good addition to your library of Genesis games. Okay, well that'll do it for me. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will update with some more. See ya.